Hey, what's up, guys? I noticed on the test that we need to reinforce complex numbers, so I put together this video slash ed puzzle to reinforce these ideas. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give you a problem, and I'm going to go over it, and then ed puzzle is going to stop the video and give you two questions. On your paper that I handed out to you, you notice that there are two empty columns on you try. That's when you'll do the you try according to the questions that ed puzzle gives you. Okay? So question number one. Okay, we're going to be simplifying radicals. First, what I want you to recognize right away is that we have a minus sign underneath the radical. All that means is when we have a radical, a minus sign under the radical, we're going to bring an I out. Okay, so that means an I is going to come out. Now let's look at this number right here. Recognize that that is one of our perfect squares. Okay, square root of 64 is a plain old 8. No, there's no radical whatsoever underneath that, over that. So when simplifying this, square root of 64 is 8. And then since there's a negative on that 64, it's going to be I. So that is my final answer. Let's look at the next example. Next example, notice once again, there is a minus sign underneath the radical. So that means I'm going to take out an I. Now, recognize that 45 is not one of these numbers. Okay? So unfortunately, the radical will not disappear because it's not a perfect square. So what we need to decide is which one of these numbers that are rectangled goes into 45 evenly. So take 4. You're going to get a decimal. I know 9 goes in there. How many times? 5 times. Now, this guy right here is going to change, okay? So whatever the square root of 9 is, which is 3, that is going to turn that into. So that's going to be 3. And since it was a negative 45, it's going to be 3i square root of 5. Okay? Let's look at example 3. We need you right away. I'm going to tell you right now. You need to memorize this right here. Okay? So all we're going to do is we're going to take 58, divide by 4. Okay? And what we want to know is what decimal it gives us. It gives us a decimal of 0.5. So it is right here in the sequence. So this simplifies to -1. If it gave us a 0, our answer would be 1. If it gave us a 0.25, our answer is I. 0.5, -1. And 0.75, -I. Next example, okay? Notice we are multiplying, okay? We're going to multiply. So -9 times -6 is 54. I times I, just like x times x equals x squared, I times I equals I squared. Now, remember, I squared equals -1. So literally, whatever the I square is attached to, it's going to change its sign. So the I square is attached to 54, so now it's going to be -54. This is because this is going to end up being 54 times -1, which we know is -54. let's look at this next guy. Please, 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 please recognize this plus sign here. Okay? There's a plus sign. This doesn't mean multiplication. On the test, I saw tons of people multiplying, foiling this out. There's a plus sign in the middle. Okay? So, all we're going to do is collect like terms. Okay? So, the negative 17 plus 4 is negative 13. 5i plus negative 13i is negative 8i. So all we're doing is collecting like terms. Okay, that's all we're doing. That is my final answer. The next one, recognize the minus sign in the middle this time. Okay, we're still going to collect like terms, but now we are subtracting. So please make sure you look at that while going. So, negative 5 minus 14 is negative 19. Negative 7i minus 5i is negative 12i. Sometimes what people like to do, and this could help those people, is they will take this negative and distribute it in. So we end up with negative 5 minus 7i minus 14 minus 5i. And then collect that way. Negative 5, negative 14, negative 19, negative 7, negative 5, negative 12i. Both ways work. But I saw people on the test multiplying it. Please notice there's a symbol in the middle. It is a minus sign. And all we're going to do is collect like terms. Okay? Let's look at the next one. Now look at this one. Notice the difference on the two before that, the adding and subtracting. Notice there is no symbol in the middle. There's nothing here. Okay? So that means we are multiplying. Okay? So that means we're going to distribute twice. So we're going to take the negative 4 and distribute. So, negative 4 times 6, negative 24. Negative 4 times negative 4 times 8i, negative 32i. Negative 7i times 6, negative 42i. And negative 7 times a positive 8, negative 56i squared. Now, let's put this into action right here. And whatever it is attached to, it's going to change its sign. So that I squared right now is attached to the negative 56. So all that's going to do is it's going to change its sign. So now it's a positive 56. Now let's collect like terms. Negative 24 plus 56 is 32. And negative 32 minus 42 is negative 74i. There is our final answer. And finally, the last example. Okay, we are dividing. There is a rule where we cannot have an I in the denominator. Okay, so we are going to multiply by the conjugate, which literally means change the middle sign to its opposite. 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 Okay, so the opposite of 6 minus 5i is 6 plus 5i. 6 plus 5i. So change its sign to its opposite. So then, distribute the 6 in. We end up with 36 plus 30i all over. Remember, the middle terms are going to cancel. So 36 minus 25i squared. Remember, whatever this is attached to is going to change its sign. So this is going to change this into a positive. So we're left with 36 plus 30i all over 36 plus 25, 61. There is our final answer. I hope this helps. Have a good one.